Hi, this is Rai, your king of theories, and I'm proud to announce that this is day one of me making my own comic book called Spirit Space. Now, Spirit Space is a unique story that blends the sci-fi fiction of Star Wars, but removes all technological elements of it. If any of you are Avatar The Last Airbender fans, imagine a grand scope epic like Star Wars, but told through the mystical, more natural side of storytelling that is Avatar The Last Airbender. I'm not the greatest artist, so what I'm about to show you is super poor quality art, but like I said, this is day one of me, trying it. I at least want to visualize my thoughts. So if any of you who see this and like what you both see and hear are good at art, then reach out to your boy through TikTok and YouTube and offer up your skills if you want to be part of this birth of this new universe. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Spirit Space. So this is page one of, my comic that, this is, as you can see by the titling, is meant to be the cover for the first book. Let me kind of explain in detail what all of these random things you see are. First is this. This is not a planet, nor is it the sun. This is a black hole, and I wanted to show the gravitas of it by drawing this, a moon right by it, that is like actually super far away. This black hole is actually near this character above him, which is why it's so big and so close compared to the moon. The little creatures you see flying near him and the overall title are spirits, hence the name Spirit Space. This world is enveloped with spirits, both in the individual planets. Yes, planets. This will be a wide scope universal story epic, just like Star Wars. And each planet has spirits, but also the vast space that connects them all also have a bunch of spirits, hence the name Spirit Space. This character with his cool looking jacket to like make up the A for space is the main character. What he has in his hand is a special item. Some might call it a weapon, some might call it an important tool, but similar to the lightsabers in Star Wars, this is vital for people like him to combat spirits and keep them under control. Why are there ripples under his feet? Well, that's because he's walking on water. Yes, his abilities allow him to manipulate the elements similar to Avatar The Last Airbender. So that's why I also drew, seaweed, a fish, and this thing that is not a fish, but I wanted to show how it compares to a regular fish. This is what's called a haunt. It is a fish-like structure, basically a huge, for lack of a better word, marine vessel that doesn't have any form of technology powering it. What it runs on is spirits, mainly fish. Well, this isn't a fish spirit, this is a regular fish. This is a fish spirit, but one that's way bigger and way more powerful to power it. So this is the cover, mainly showing different aspects of the universe and kind of letting you know how in-depth it is. Now we move on to page 2, which is my crack at the different expressions of the main character. It's called Different Faces of J. Cross. Now, J. Cross is his name, J.M. Cross, LOL. J.M. Cross is his name, and he has a cross scar on his cheek. That's not a tattoo for parents who might have been concerned about it. He's similar to Harry Potter in that regard, where this scar was left on him when he was very young, and he has, like most protagonists, a tragic backstory that leads him towards being very heroic when it comes to helping people in need, helping the innocent or weak. He is, very expressive, as you can see, but because what he is, a maestro, essentially the Jedis of this universe, are able to manipulate the elements, which is called influence, similar to the ways benders from Avatar: The Last Airbender bend the elements. I wanted to show his different expressions through the different elements. He can bend, LOL, bend. He can influence more than 4 elements. He can influence a variety of different elements like electricity or even metal. But, when you're on the go, the 4 main elements are what you have to work with. So this is him when he's like fiery, passionate, angry, and he's like, "You better not!" LOL is just like really mad, has fire in his eyes, is very determined. This is when he's very sad, something super bad just happened and he wasn't able to stop it. So he's just like, "Oh no!" Like that meme from JoJo Bizarre Adventures with Joseph Joestar, just crying, like tears coming out of his eyes that are just like watery. This is when he's extremely happy, like something just insane just happened that he liked, and he's just like, again, just again, like just super happy about it, just excited, just doesn't really know what's going on, but he wants it to happen again. And this is when he's just stoic. He's just like unmovable. He's like extremely sure about himself and his own strength. So he's very rock-like in that regard. And he's just like, "Try me." Like, he's just like, "Yeah, let's see who's stronger, you or me." And these are just like 4 of the many expressions that Jake M. Cross is able to emote, and I'm just like getting practice in making those emotions. But it's very similar to Danny Phantom in that regards because of the teeth and the simplistic art style. So a lot of you might say, yeah, this kind of looks like some Danny Phantom mock-ups, but worse because I'm not that as good as Butch Hartman is at drawing. We now move to page 3, which is focused on the instrument that the maestros use to combat not just spirits, but vile entities that exist within the universe, such as curses and other maestros and bad people. It's called the Maestro Baton, and it essentially looks like a wand, but the reason it's called a baton is because just with the name, I took a lot of inspirations from maestros who conduct orchestras. Like they're using the batons, waving it around like a wand, and influencing, not really influencing, more like conducting the various orchestra people to play the music at different times and stuff. But I took that idea, but had it be in a sense of like the maestros influencing, conducting the elements. And they're not really controlling the elements the way benders do. They're controlling the spirits that lie within the elements. So that's why when it says Maestro Baton influencing fire spirits, wind spirits, water spirits, and rock spirits, it's because they're not really controlling / producing these elements. They're controlling the extremely small but extremely abundant spirits that lie within each element, since there are a variety of spirits in all elements. with fire spirits embedding themselves into flames, wind spirits hiding in wind, water spirits and earth rock spirits like lying in water and stuff. So it's just like by influencing the spirits, they control the elements. So it's a great and powerful tool for the maestros, which can only be used by the maestros because it's more like a booster slash focuser. It like not only boosts the power of their influence, but it also allows them to sharpen their control, to fine tune it so they don't accidentally hurt a bystander. And this is our boy, the main character of Spirit Space, J.M. Cross. And these are essentially his main gear for his maestro duties. The first one being the Hydro Gourd, which is what he wears behind his waist. The straps allows him to tie it to his waist, and it contains water for maestros to influence on the go. So like, let's say you're at a desert or inside a building where there's no source of water to influence. The gourd has an abundant amount of water for him to influence the water spirits within the water. So it's essentially like the water pouch that Katara always wears in Avatar. So she's able to always have a source of water for when it's combat or healing purposes. The Soul Lantern is essentially a lantern like a torch that the maestro can have on him. Like, he wears it on his waist as well towards the side, and by turning this nozzle, it lights up the lantern, allowing the maestro to have a source of fire, like where it says here, produces fire for maestro to influence wherever, allowing the maestro, if just like in the same situation doesn't have any source of fire to pull from, he can use the Soul Lantern to produce a small lit flame that he can then influence into a super big flame that he can throw at his opponents or use to create a firewall or whatever. And when he's done, he just makes the flames disperse and disappear. But when he needs fire again, he can just turn it on and boom, he has a source of fire again. So these are the main two things that a maestro needs to have on him if he needs a source of water or a source of fire, while for the other two elements like earth or air, that's all around them, so he can always have access to that. The baton is on his other side of his waist that he has sort of like a gun satchel, I think is what it's called, or a gun holster. This is a baton holster for his maestro baton. And the last page of this video will be on the spirits themselves, the abundant variety of different spirits that exist in Spirit Space, from Category 1 to Category 2 to Category 3, Category 4, and Category 5. Essentially like hurricane categories for the level of power and destructive capabilities each spirit is capable of. So Category 1 is micro spirits. They are essentially the size of germs and exist within all elements: fire, water, air, earth, lightning, electricity, just any type of element. Just like with regular germs, they're embedded in and lie in wait, inactive. Category 2 are basic spirits. They are regular sized spirits that are the size of whatever animal, human that died to produce them. They are the reason for curses, because when a spirit envelops a person, phase through a person, that person already has a spirit within them. That's their soul. That's the reason for them being the way they are. Spirits is a soul without a vessel. And when a spirit goes inside a vessel that already has one, since the spirit essentially is fuel for life, it's the reason why life can exist, it warps and kind of mutates the vessel to kind of like mirror the type of spirit that is not within it. So if you're a human and you have a human soul, a human spirit inside you, if a deer spirit, fish spirit ends up like phasing through you, then you're gonna mutate to have like gills or fins or horns or antlers because of that. And when that happens to you, you are now called a curse by regular people because they kind of see you as a freak, as an outsider to society. Category 3 are alpha spirits, and alpha spirits, as you can see from this size comparison model, are way bigger than regular spirits. They're like as big as a bus, as big as a house, and they too can just be like animal spirits or human spirits, but they're way more powerful because when a spirit is 2 categories above another spirit, then they have absolute influence over that spirit. So category 2 spirits have no influence over category 1 micro spirits, but category 3 alpha spirits have absolute influence over category 1s, and because of that can essentially control the elements, since category 1 spirits are laced within all earth, fire, air, water, electricity, all of that. So that's what their size and power is already bad enough. And when they phase through a person, because of their power, they essentially make that person explode because their vessel is equipped to deal with such power. But they can also influence micro spirits, which allows them to control the elements. So they're extremely bad, but thanks to a special metal that we'll talk about in a later video, they, just like with spirits, have been put in, humans have found a way to like deal with them and actually use them to their benefits, like going all the way back to haunts. They're powered by alpha spirits. How so? Again, we'll discuss that in a later video, but going to category 4, they are called disaster spirits. These spirits are so big and so powerful that, unlike all of the previous 3 spirits, 3 category spirits, these disaster spirits can't just like disappear. They can't go invisible. They're so big and powerful, so dense with spiritual energy, that they have to hide within the elements just to not deal with humans constantly bothering them. Because if these spirits, disaster spirits, get angry, just like with the name states, they can cause major disasters, from hurricanes, earthquakes to tsunamis. They can really mess up a region. But again, they hide away so they don't have to deal with that. You can have disaster spirits hiding in clouds in the sky, have them hiding in mountains and earth canyons and stuff, hiding in the ocean. Like, they're extremely powerful, but luckily they have no reason to like harm the world. Most of these spirits want to either just be left alone, or like if they do attack, it's usually due to provocation. And we finally get to the last category, the strongest, most powerful spirits that is like just nothing but trouble. God spirits, which are as big as planets. They, of course, cannot exist on a planet. They wander through space, destroying planets because of their insane amount of power. God spirits, they are usually a sign of the end for a planet. If you see a God spirit approaching your planet through telescope or whatever, then you have to like use some haunts which are able to not just like, go through water or float through the sky. They can actually traverse space, hence why there are so many people on different planets in this anti-technological universe. But yeah, these God spirits normally can only be stopped by disaster spirits working together to at least pool their power into pushing away one, like kind of altering their course if they're like heading towards a planet that they're on. But yeah, from the different category of spirits to the different arsenals of the maestros who utilize influence over spirits to like keep the world in order. This is just a little bit of the vast universe I'm creating in spirit space, and I hope you guys, whoever's watching this, like what you see and heard. Like I said, I'm not the greatest of artists, and this is day one of me making this comic, but like if any of you want to like help me out with it, like help me out whether it comes to art or story, hit me up on TikTok and YouTube, and I'll be more than happy to accept your help. Let's like make this together, shall we? And look out for more videos of either more art or more story involving spirit space. Like and subscribe for in both my TikTok and YouTube, and peace.